A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Dear students of 12th class subject Botany, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Dear students, today on 20th of this July 2021, our topic is test cross. Dear students, these are two questions, test cross and this back cross, and today we will study the test cross. First of all, we will define this test cross. It is a process between an organism of an unknown genotype and a homozygous recessive individual. So you should understand that this test cross is a process between an organism of an unknown genotype and a homozygous recessive individual. An organism showing recessive phenotype must have a homozygous genotype for recessive alleles, but the organism with dominant phenotype may have homozygous or heterozygous genotype. So here two conditions appear, that if an organism shows the recessive phenotype, then that can have the homozygous genotype for recessive alleles. But if an organism have the dominant phenotype, that may have the homozygous or heterozygous genotype. So these are the two conditions here. So in order to know the genotype of heterozygous organism, test cross is done. So what are the conditions for the test cross to be done? That is to know the genotype of heterozygous organism, test cross is done. So to know the heterozygous organism, genotype of an heterozygous organism, test cross is done. The condition for the test cross is that if we want to know the genotype of heterozygous organism, then this test cross is done. Now, if the test cross yields offspring of which 50% show dominant character and 50% show recessive character in F1 generation, then individual under test is heterozygous. So when this individual is heterozygous, if the test cross yields offspring of 50% character of dominant character, when the individual is under test heterozygous, then it must yield offspring of 50% dominant character and 50% of recessive character in F1 generation. But if all the offspring of the test cross in F1 generation show dominant trait, then the individual under test is homozygous dominant. So these are the two conditions here. Then we can show like this: parent is heterozygous tall people aunt and homozygous dwarf people aunt. So this tall people aunt is shown here capital T small t, and this homozygous dwarf people aunt is shown here by small t small t. Then the gametes will be capital T small t, and here in homozygous condition small t small t. In F1 generation, capital T small t is equal to tall, and another capital T small t is tall. So here small t dwarf, small t dwarf, then the ratio will be 2:2 or 1:1. So here how this can appear here, you can see here, this when this t is multiplied with this t, capital T small t here, then another capital T small t here, then this small t and this small t here. So these are the two tall, two dwarf. The ratio will be 2:2. So the parent is equal to heterozygous dominant, that is tall, capital T small t. So then another condition is here, you can see here, if we will take the parent like homozygous tall people aunt and homozygous dwarf people aunt, here that same condition. homozygous tall people aren't and homozygous dwarf people aren't. Then this homozygous tall people aren't is shown by capital T, while as homozygous dwarf people aren't is shown by small t. Then when the segregation appears in gametes, then this capital T is segregate here, and this small t segregate here. Then in F1 generation, there will be this capital T small t, then capital T small t, and here capital T small t. All will be of tall. Offspring will be all tall. So you can see here, these all offspring are tall. This test cross can be monohybrid if it involves a single trait, and if it is dihybrid, then it involves crossing of two different traits. So you should remember here that test cross can be monohybrid if it involves a single trait, and dihybrid if it involves crossing of two different traits. This test cross is devised by Mendel, and it reveals the genotype of an organism displaying dominant phenotype. So this was all about today's lecture, this test cross, and in this way we have studied this test cross, and this was all about this test cross. Then in our next lecture we will take the back cross. So how the back cross is done. So till tomorrow, stay home, stay safe. Thank you very much.